All right, so I am on Google now. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. That one. And so I'm going to share it in Hangout, present to everyone. So everybody in Google Hangout should see it. And then let me do it with Link. Okay. So Link should see me. So I hope everybody can see my monitor and hear me. I will, let me put this copy for those who joined a few minutes ago. Here is the doc. That doc right there is what I will be using. All right, so there's a link in there to a document that I'm going to kind of be going down. I mean, you don't have to open it because obviously it's on your screen, but you might want it later. So it is view-only doc. There is also a folder that I have put all this information into. And so if you click on this link right here, it will take you to the folder. Okay, so we'll get started. Like I said, I know that it's your last 2 days, so I know everybody's crazy right now. So thank you for joining. So we're going to start with pretty much what a form is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it just because I want to show you all the cool stuff it'll do, but I will show you how to use one. They're actually very easy. So if you're in your Google Drive, so I'm in my Google Drive, I'm inside that folder I was telling you about. I click New, I click More, and I click Google Forms. You probably won't it's just asking me about sharing permissions. So this is what it looks like. There is Try New Google Forms, which is great. It's kind of cool looking, but I will tell you that some of the add-ons I show you are not yet in the new one yet. They're still trying to update it and everything, and so it's not there yet. So I do not try. If you do click Try Get New Google Forms, and then you want to try one of the things I had, there'll be a little man down here. If you click on that, it'll flip you back to the old one. So this is what a form looks like. There are some settings. One of them is require Jefferson County Schools log in to view this form. Sometimes we have that where we don't want people jumping in and answering the questions. I will tell you that when I do that, I have to warn people or it becomes a nightmare of a million people trying to get in, but they're not logged in their Google account, and they're going to ask 1,000 times. But one of the good things behind it is that it says require Jefferson County Schools login. I can do this where it'll automatically collect respondents' username, so it'll collect their email address. So if you have kids and you don't want them to have to type in their email address every time, and they're already logged in on maybe a Chromebook, you can go ahead and click that, and when you do, it will keep that username. So so that's kind of why they're there. Yeah, I'm going to unclick that. There's a progress bar at the bottom of the form. If you have multiple pages of forms, you can do multiple pages of forms. Sometimes it helps people know how far they're going. Use only one response per person. If they're logged in and you only want them to respond one time, not 1,000, because you're trying to get real data, that's a good way to do it. And then another one is shuffle question order. So one of the things I'm going to show you today is kind of how to do a test. So you can shuffle question order. So on that computer, well, on all the computers, it'll shuffle them up. There is one thing I don't like about that is that it'll put like name in the middle of the form, but at least it shuffles it. So if you have kids all sitting on a computer, like in a row of computers, that is helpful if you're doing tests or something like that. To title a form, it's very simple. We'll call this Forms Webinar, so I know what this is. And when I title it here, it'll automatically title it there. Now, if I change the name of it, I've got to change it up here. But the first time, it'll automatically call it the same. And you notice that over here in my Google Docs, that Forms Webinar is right there already. You also, so you can do a description of it. Then you move into your questions. So my first question could be your name. If I want people's names, I will tell you that this puts it into a spreadsheet. So if I was ever doing something that I knew I was going to have to sort in alphabetical order, I would put last name as a question and first name as a question. That way, I know exactly, that way I can put them in alphabetical order. Does that make sense? Like I can go in the spreadsheet and move it around. I'm just going to put name there. So you have different answer choices. You have a text where they can just write one thing, so that would be really good for name. You have a paragraph text if you want them to have a long answer. Multiple choice, you can have many options as you want. The thing about multiple choice is that they can only choose one time. So like if you were trying to choose multiple things, you need a checklist, not a multiple choice. And there's the check boxes right there. where you can choose multiple things. You can do choose from a list. That's going to be like, see this drop-down box? That's what it looks like. So if I had option 1, 2, 3, 4, I would have a drop-down box that would give me option 1, 2, 3, 4. A scale is like from 1 to 5. How did you understand this? 1 being no clue. 5 being got it. Uh-oh, I hit a button. I'm not used to this keyboard. My keyboard died. So, and then I can put done. Well, I guess that wouldn't be a good one, but I can click done. I'll show you what it looks like. So it looks like that. So you have that scale. You can also do a grid. If I did grids, this is what grids look like. Done. Here's your grid. So you choose one of these. You know, this could be your scale of 1 to 10 or something, and this would be your options over there. There's also a time and date, which is really great. You can include date, time with a date. That way, have you ever noticed when you put things in a spreadsheet, some dates are kind of one way, some dates are another way, and you can't really sort things. This way, everybody kind of has the same format with a drop-down box. And then time is just your time. If you were asking how long did you spend reading tonight, you could just do this, and the people would click in their minutes and their hours as well. So I'm going to put text there. So if I've got that and I'm done, I can copy it and make a new one, or I can go down here to add item. And there's all of my other items. Let's do our multiple choice. What is your favorite color? And I can do a multiple choice of red, yellow, blue. We're going to stick with primary. And then I can click done. And so there's your multiple choice. This is what it'll look like. Your other options that were not as what we had earlier, you have a section header, which means I can, like, if I put a section header here, it's going to break it into a new section. So if I had, like, you know, here's some questions about this, here's some questions about that, you can kind of break them up that way. We also have a page break. This is where you can add multiple pages. If you notice, if I put a page break in here and I call this page 2, done, and I come back up to this, I can say go to page based on answer. So if they answered red, this would I could make this submit the form. If they answered blue, I can make them go to page 2 and yellow, I can make them answer questions about things that are yellow. If I can answer blue, I'm going to say submit form, and then so whoever gets yellow gets like special questions. Something like that. I've done them before where you answer this, like I used to do inventory at my school, and I would say, okay, have you gotten new inventory this year? If they click no, new technology this year. If they click no, then it takes them to, okay, here's submit form. If they click yes, here's where you can put that in. So those kind of things. I've seen people do build your own stories that way. Those type activities as well. And we'll take that off. There is also an add image. That was like, I think I was the most excited person on the planet when they put that in there, because you can actually add an image. So if I was doing a thing about do a color wheel, I can stick that in, select, where'd it go? There it goes. And there's my image. Ooh, that was a big one. And it'll put my image in there. You know that it puts it as its real thing. So there is my image in there, and I can ask a question about that image. If you had something like a graph, I used to stick, like with science, I had a lot of charts and graphs and pictures, and I could stick those in there as well. And lastly, you have a video. Unfortunately, it has to be an online video. Either it's a YouTube video, and I know how that becomes a problem here with our filter, but it is an option, and I will show you kind of an idea of where that could come in handy a little bit later. So you have your, here's some of my questions. At the bottom, you have a confirmation page, so that's when they submit it. Right now, it says your response has been recorded. I could put on here, happy holidays. See you in January. And I can show a link to submit another response. I can publish and show a link to form results. So if you want them to see how everybody else answered, we could do that. And you can allow them to go back and edit their responses. So those options are all right there. And so that's pretty much how you set it up. You can change the theme and make it prettier. I will tell you that New Forms has even prettier themes than this. Let's say I want this one. I think that's cool, but I don't like cats, so I can go in here where it says, where did I hit the cats? I can hit Customize, Header Image, change image to, come on, I'm going to pull it way down. See if I can hit some holiday. I know it's in there. Boom, 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 boom. I didn't think this would take that long. Okay, so let's do presents. Do presents, I can stick that in there. I used to do different themes every time I had my kids do like a test or something on here. That way I could always just kind of glance around and make sure they were on the same page. But it's kind of fun to make them cute. You can change your font. Like if that font was really hard to read, I can go in and I can change it to something like that. That might be easier. A lot of times it'll put gray on there, so you can change the color of it if somebody has trouble reading the color that's on there, especially gray. A lot of people have trouble reading the gray. So that's kind of how you build the form. So let's say I'm done. I'm going to go back to edit questions. And my form is finished. And so I can go to view live form. So if I click view live form, this is what my live form looks like. If I want somebody to go to that form, I can copy here and I can paste that form. So I'm going to stick it in these chat boxes here. Y'all can click on it if you want to. If you don't want to because you're afraid it'll make the page go crazy, that's fine too. But I can send them that way. And so if you guys click on that link, it's going to take you to this form. Also know that, I'm trying to watch my time, I don't want to run out of time on the stuff. Also know that you have responses. So you can click here, review responses. There's two ways. One of them is a summary of responses. This would give you just like a bar graph of responses. Right now nobody's answered, but if I had a bunch of people answer it, let's see if I went over here and just put name 1, and I click yellow, submit. Submit another response, name 1, click yellow, submit. So I can go back over here now and I can say, okay, see summary of responses, and this is going to give me a bar graph. I mean, well, not a bar graph, a pie graph of this, a pie chart of this. So if I had, some things do give bar graphs, but for some reason that's all this one does. So, and you can publish it, you can, and it'll download it as a PDF. The other way to see responses is you can click here, or you can click over here. It says View Responses, and it's going to take you to a spreadsheet. These are things I deleted earlier, so I'm going to just kind of delete these columns. And so as you can see that there are spreadsheets that are, I mean, the answers come into a spreadsheet. And also in my, you see how it puts it in here? When I automatically created this, it automatically made this, because the first time I did it, it told me to. You can also send out, one more thing, you can send out a form. If I wanted to send it out via email addresses, I can send it, copy and paste all my kids' email addresses and send them that way, and they just open up their email, and it's there. You can give you a short URL, so you can do a shorter one that's a little bit easier to type in as well. I use Bitly to do that, just to be honest, and that was kind of how I did that. So, so that's kind of a quick overview of forms. I spent more time on that than I wanted to. So let's say that we're going to make our lives easier. There are some add-ons that will do that. So when I go through and show you the other stuff, these add-ons are going to help. One's Publish Form. So if I went over here to these add-ons, you might not have all these. You would click Get Add-ons, and it would take you to this add-on store. And I'm going to click that away. But one of them is Form Publisher. And so what I would do is I go through this, and so every time somebody put this in there, it would make a new document. I don't have one already made. No, please create one. And so what it would do is every time somebody submitted a form with a different name, I would get a new document. Still doing it. It's working on it. It's slow. That's fine. And so now I could tell them to notify via email. I don't have to do that. I can take that off test. So if I did this and I said A, and I'm going to click that and click Submit. What it did inside of my Google Drive, right here, is that it obviously didn't work. There it is. Okay, so it did that, and I got one that says it would have a name if I had a name, and then it would tell me, oh, it's doing all of them. It's going through all of them. It's all the ones I answered. So it'll go through and give me a sheet of paper with everybody's everything. So I think I hit the same one that time. So it'll go through, but like it'll say, it'll make a new doc for every single person that submits this. If I submitted another one, I'm just going to put some things, blue, submit, and it'll make a new, I hope it would. My internet's slow today, obviously. Nope. Where'd it go? Maybe I have to run it. I've never had it not work. Okay, I don't want to do that again. That is really weird. But it should run you a little thing and give you, oh, there it is. I was like, oh, I knew I did another one. And so now it tells me here's that name and here's the color. So if you had them answer questions, but you wanted a sheet of paper for every one of them, like if you're getting information about each student and you want to put it into a folder, take it with you when you go on field trips, that kind of stuff, this is a good way to run that. If you did a test, something like that, this will do that for, oh, there it is. I'll do that. Choice Eliminator. Choice Eliminator is kind of cool. I'll do it on this one. Add-ons, Choice Eliminator. Some of you just started doing parties and people had to sign up for stuff. This is kind of a sign up, so I can say, okay, I want this on. What is your favorite color? I want to eliminate choices. I want my choice option. I'm going to say, all right, let's pretend like they're signing up for stuff. So let's say that only 2 people can sign up for red. We can have 3 people sign up for yellow. We can have 1 person sign up for blue and save. So what they do is when they have the test, when they have the form, once somebody puts blue in there, because I put blue was only once somebody clicks blue and clicks submit, the next person, ooh, no, did not save it. There it goes. The next person, the blue is gone. And then once yellow's been used twice, I think I have to reload the page once it's continues and then response. I have to reload the page that way. I don't know how many people I've put. There you go. So after I have somebody do yellow, it'll go away, then red will go away. So that's a good way to sign up for things. Other ones that we have on, the other one that I have on here is form limiter. That means that only so many people, like if I only want 5 people to sign up for this reading center and they can go in and sign up, after 5 it goes away. It says you can't submit anymore. So it's a good way to kind of cut it off after so long. Now, Autocrat and Flubberoo. These are for self-grading, like if you're doing, Autocrat can be for anything. Autocrat is like a email merge. It kind of does like a published form, but it's a little bit more fancy. I'm going to click the test because I made a fake test. So let's say that this is my fake test. The kids everybody answered these questions. And I'm going to go to view responses. So I went ahead and had kids review this. Now, I used to do all my tests on here, but then parents would ask to see their kids' work, and I would have to copy and paste this whole line or whatever in there. But if I use that Autocrat add-on, it's going. Now I'll tell you, Autocrats, it took me a long time to learn how to do Autocrat. I can say, okay, on a new merge job, I hope this doesn't take forever. And on the flip side, I'll show you this real quick. I did this tags, and so I went ahead and made these tags that copy what these questions had. I had to take off the question mark, so hopefully it'll work because it has a question mark in there. But what it'll do is it will stop. Okay, not the one I'm on this one. Let's see, choose template from Drive. It'll where's my PD? Where's my folder? There it is, PD stuff. Form webinar. Tags for Autocrat, select. So it'll go ahead and it'll load that in there. And so I can do this merge job and it'll answer all the questions and it'll have the kid's first name, last name, and then it'll have their answers all the way down. I have a feeling this is going to take forever if I go through this. Okay, I'm just going to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm just throwing a lot of stuff at you, but it's one of those you gotta go play with, especially this one. I can make it say their name, their last name. There. Why is it doing that? I'm gonna close it. But as you can see, you'll go through, you'll answer the questions, and it'll run those. So as the kids answer it, it'll make a folder, and it'll make those new, and it'll put it in this form. I want to show you more things, so I'm going to kind of scan over that. Like I said, it's one of those you got to play with for sure. Okay, so the other add-on I had on here is Flubberoo, and I am going to go through that. If I click on that, I'm going to click Flubberoo. So this is my test that I gave, and so I want to enable Flubberoo. All right. I'm going to allow it. I went ahead, and you have to take the test one time. So I went ahead and took the test. So now it's been enabled. I'm going to say grade the assignment. And that looks good. This tells me to grade these and that these identify the student. Continue. There's one called test key. That was the one that I know is the key. Thank you. All right, so here's my grade. So Zach Morris made a 37. Jesse Spano made 100. If they're red, that means that they made below a 70. Yes, below a 70. If the question is yellow over here, that means that 50% or less of the students missed that question. And it actually puts how many points, which is how many they got correct, and how many times they submitted, and it puts it all in here for me. So it kind of graded it for me. Their submissions are still over here, so I could still run that AutoCrat if I wanted to. I can also, if I wanted to, add-ons, Flubberoo, I can say they changed it. It says share grades. It used to say email grades. Now it says share grades. Okay. We want to email. There's a question that says email. So that way it knew it. Share via email, typical, and I can say include answer key if I wanted to. I can include a message if I wanted to, and I can push continue. This might be also good if you don't want to have to deal with AutoCrat and stuff, but you have that parent that shows up and wants to know how their kid did. It sends you an email that shows you. Type. All right. So here's your grade for practice test. So this one is, this is Screech Powers, this is that name, and here's what they got correct and incorrect. And I could just print out this email. And that way I have that sheet if I don't want to have to go through all that AutoCrat stuff. And that way if the parent shows up, I just, you could put your email in for all of it and then tell it to email it all to you, and then you just have, like, if you look here, I just have one email of all of them. Here's another record of the grades, and it actually puts the responses in another drive. It'll send me to that drive and then assignment as well. So let's see, what other so the last one I had was split names, which is if you forget to tell the kids to do their last name and first name first in something, there is an add-on that says split name, and it will take the first name and last name and split them apart. So you have a first name and a last name box, and that way you can put them in alphabetical order. So I just kind of stuck that in there to kind of let you know. The other one is the transpose formula, and so if I have, let's see, where's this one? So let's say I give these kids names. These are really some crazy names. And I want to, and here's all their form responses, but that's kind of hard to read because you have to go across. So all I got to do is make a new sheet. Why is there, okay, reload, whatever. My internet's been going in and out. I hope it's still, yeah, it's still recording. Okay, so let's add another sheet. I can go right here and I can use the formula that's right there. It's got that formula that equals transpose. I hope it works. Control V. But I don't have an H on the other page, so I put C. Transpose. Let's see. Let's do this. Transpose. I can click back over here and say, all right, transpose all the way to here. There we go. There, and it'll have. Why did it flip? Oh, I didn't do all of them. That's lovely. Do this. Oh. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing. Work? Nope. Well, it worked earlier when I tried it. What did I do wrong? What if I took off the one? There we go. So now it has, there's the kids' names and there's the answers, so you can read it this way, and it's a little bit easier to read than that long, crazy way of doing it. So it took me a minute because I didn't follow the formula that I already had. So, but yeah, so I can even take out my timestamp if I don't want to have that in there because that's just kind of ugly. So I can hide that row, and here's the kids' names. I know they don't really look like names, and here was their answer. And I can make this bigger, and we can see exactly what they answered. So that would be transpose. Stop. All right, so I think that's all of them. So here's some kind of ideas of how this can make your life easier. I see I'm running out of time. Way too much, too little time. So here's some that I have. One's a lesson plan. I will tell you that all my lesson plans when I was in the classroom was done on here. So I would put in my class period, my date, the description of the lesson, what the kids are going to do. I would click on these instructional strategies I had to show that I did. I copied and pasted all my standards in, and then I put technology use because I always would fill out things for grants, and they would want proof that I used technology, and so that way I'd have it on there. And then view responses. All your responses come in this way. I made a copy so it still has my old responses. And what I would do is I would just take, okay, here's 1 week. And I would copy this way, and then I would print out just that right there. And it would just print out that one, and I would have one sheet for my lesson plans for the week to put them up there. So there's that. And we'll go on here. Here's a rubric. If you had a rubric, you could do it like the test, where as you're grading the kids as they're up there talking or something, if they're showing something, you can click on here, and if I go to the view live form so you can see it. So you can see it on here, and you can say, okay, here's the kids' names, and click on here as they present. And so when my kids would go up and present, it was easier just to have an iPad or something and just click on down as they would go. Other ones we have on here, discipline forms. I used to, you have to take all this information about discipline forms. One of the schools is actually using this one, and that's where I got it from. But they would have what the teacher did, what date it was, the student's name, the offense. This has gotten all kind of gone around crazy. And parent contact. Did you get the parent? What did the parent say? All of that. And so you would fill out that form and then share the results with everybody, and everybody could see, okay, this kid's getting in trouble in 6 different classes. Or if you just have one class of kids, you could always have that information out there for when the parents come in, or you have to have an IEP meeting. Student info sheets, when you're having parents' night, open house, have all the parents fill out this form right here. You can put a QR code on the table, parents' name, parents' email, those kind of things. It's going to put it all in a spreadsheet for you. You can put in alphabetical order and have that information always ready. Tests, we kind of saw tests. One of them is Daily 5, or reading conference notes. So if you're having kids come up to you and doing your reading conferencing every day as you do centers. So here's one. You click the student's name. If you go ahead and put them in there, you can put the book title or strategies, or the CFE, what was the focus, CAFE for the focus, put your observations, put your goals, and submit it. So if you have a little laptop sitting there, you could put all that in as they come. Other ones, daily data. This is really cool. So if you have kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, you do daily data all day, you could have this up on your screen of your computers in your classroom, so as the kids are unpacking every day, they can come in and they can say, oh, my favorite's spring. And so then when it's time to do math and you're doing your data, you can view responses and say, okay, we can look at it that way, or you can hit, come on, where'd it go? I think I got way too many tabs open. I can say, not that, responses, summary of responses. We can say, okay, look, everybody, we had, come on, it's going to tell you, we had 7 people say summer, we had 3 people say spring, and then we can use that data for our math class that day. Other ones, you have a reading log. So if your kids do reading logs, you can make a form for every kid. You can make it where they have to put their last name in. Time read, that looks really cool on the form. They go in here and they say, okay, we read for 14 minutes. 0 hours, 14 minutes. The parents could initial it, and then they submit it. You can put it in alphabetical order, and you can have the whole kids, all the kids' stuff for the year. It's a lot better than all those papers. And then, the kid that forgets to bring his folder home every night, the parents have it. Some other things from middle school and high school. I have an exit slip here. If you have exit slips for your kids, this is a little bit better than all the Post-its on the door. A little bit easier for you to keep. My biggest aha of the day, I'm still wondering about, those kind of things. Today's vocabulary, have them answer one question, and then you'll see everybody's responses. You can put this up on the, if you don't put the kids' names, you can put it up on the board, and everybody can see what other people are saying and what they've learned, and maybe they can learn from each other. Another one's, if you did flip classroom, or for our next E-Day coming up, you could put in a video. So I have it here, it has a video, and then ask questions about the video. So, you know, that might be a way you could do E-Day. Have the kids watch a video on, you know, how to do math problems, how to do science, you know, something, and then answer questions about it. And then you would have all the questions answered, and you could actually even grade it if you want to. Excuse me. And the last one I have on here is an assignment Dropbox. So let's say that you don't like using Google Classroom, and you don't like using, what's it called, Edmodo or anything like that. Just your kids aren't old enough or something like that. But your kids are doing a project on maybe TAC, or, you know, making some kind of cool assignment. They can go in, they can put their name, they can name the assignment, and then they can just put the link to the assignment on here. So let's say that they had to make a form, which would be kind of silly, but if they did, and then you can go in here and they can put that link there, and then their name of the assignment is a form, and I can submit it, and then I would have all of, is it? Nope. I think I'll only put it from that in. But then I would have like a list of all of my kids and what they had, and what they've turned in, and then it would all be on one spreadsheet. You don't have to go look for it through all emails and stuff. So, so those are some ways, hopefully, that forms can help you. I use them for everything. I use MailMerge for everything. If you send out an email and you want responses, sometimes I just put it in a form so I don't get thousands of emails as well. So pretty much anything that people have to sign up for, anything that you have to have any kind of information for, that's a good way. So I'm 3 minutes over my time. I apologize. I tried to get it all in. But if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat bar. I guess I can unmute everybody. You want me to? You can do that. You can put questions in the chat and I'll answer them real quick. Somebody's typing. Yeah, that was a lot of information very fast. So, but thank you all. Hope you learned something. If there's anything else, go once, going twice. All right, and we'll stop the broadcast at least so it's not recording.